Would you like to share jokes with Bach? Then accept the invitation of this timeless genius to immerse into the musical scenery that has been designed by him with jazzy cluster chords, as if he wrote them down at the jazz bar between his gigs, using the spare moment to write down his didactic piece for his students. Indeed, such great opportunity for joy and fun to make learning process for his polyphonic music addictive has been missing due to the paradoxical oblivion over his musical humor that prolific composer expressed with unconventional for his time compositional devices that forecasted modern musical language of jazz and contemporary music, and such incredible ingenuity of employing dissonant sonorities in defiant ways deserves to be in the spotlight in all textbooks. But instead, his unique didactic score for fugue parody had to be rediscovered only now by Rosalina Gutman, who shared her uncommon path to this eureka moment in her new book, titled Paradox of Invisible Dissonance in Fugue Parody by J.S. Bach. Her textbook-changing and rather sensational discoveries filled in the gap in Bach's scholarship with her unique piano instructor's glance that is resonant to Bach's own daily duties of music teacher. And this fugue is the example of his riveting ingenuity for creating very effective scaffolding. It exhibited his superb polyphonic technique, allowing for integrating into fugue format satirical meaning of parody on dogma for zombification of music that was commonly observed during his time. Ebook provided user manual for easy reader's examination of Bach's intricate design of musical humor metaphors that enable instant authentic associations. They invite for the use of the piece as the container for learning the skills of embodied self-reflection of the elements of cognitive dissonance that is otherwise hard to grasp, allowing for its effective resolution. And this Bach's power to facilitate the achievement of emotional freedom and clarity is empowering and quite incomparable. The ebook provides essential for achieving this liberating impact information for the didactic update, allowing for examination of illuminated by author discrepancy of the commonly used didactic aids on Bach, with left undetected score facts of jazzy dissonant sonorities. They are paradoxically missing in most analysis and recordings, despite being clearly spelled out by composer in the score. And readers can observe that one of the key reasons for this paradoxical invisibility of the emboldened dissonance is the falsely required and entrained emotional repression. And the author guides examination of the intricate design of composer's innovative scaffolding with didactic target of overcoming the challenge of zombification in music to assist his own students while employing dopaminergic impacts of musical humor. Besides observing impact on millions of musicians of this, opposed by Bach, injurious for health practice, the ebook enables swift reform with citations of various studies that linked emotional withholding with serious negative health impacts. These studies demand for prompt demonstration of zero tolerance to double standard in teaching. This data provides the evidence that no excusology may justify limitations of dynamics in Bach's music or any music that enforce harmful for health emotional confinement. The ebook is the collection of intellectual delights with unique insights of the author Rosalina Gutman beyond stereotypical perception of this piece. And the outcomes of its unearthing from distortions liberated the true meaning of various other aspects of Bach's legacy of the composer and innovative instructor, taking much risk for staying true to his role of consciousness transformer. Bach's inventive use of humor in didactic score targets the stubborn challenge of somatic inertia in the technique to assist in the transition to playing gravity-based hammer clavier, capable of nuanced dynamics. His prolific effort, made 3 centuries prior to its current global spread, deserves special spotlight. In fact, the use of dopaminergic effect of musical humor is truly exemplary for the effectiveness of rewiring of the habits of playing keyboards that were created prior to the emergence of fortepiano, that had inferior design with no capacity for the wide range of nuanced dynamics. In fact, Bach made essential the employment of dynamics in this piece for the students of his scores in order to achieve emotional resonance to his sense of humor with the reward of sharing laughter with instructor. The successful passing of this laughter test by the student needs no grading that is replaced with the rewarding experience of joy of laughter as the result of learning process. Actually, The lack of dynamics for the emphasis on syncopated and left with no resolution dissonant cluster chords was one of the key contributing aspects for their impaired auditory detection, despite their self-evident presence in the score. Another issue that propelled collective blind spot is biographical distortions related to the facts of Bach's involvement with emerging during his time fortepiano. That may be surprising to discover, since the related records had been underpublicized. Composer's intention for creating the response of exuberant giggles that was notated with incredible ingenuity of neuroscientist is achieved through intuitive violation of musical predictions for eliciting laughter. Composer's superb craft can empower the student to gain emotional resonance among their audiences by sharing the sparks of laughter, spelled by Bach with notation. And thanks to transformative power of fun and joy, communicated through the surprising bursts of sonic clashes, this piece can be used as the effective counterpoint of emotional awakening to the power of universal enemy of zombification. One classroom, one audience at a time. Bach made the use of dynamics to be the integral part of this sonic effect. However, the false educational standard for emotional repression unfairly imposed during childhood upon performers of his music disabled the score reading skills among many musicians. This shared evident blind spot created expectation for recognition of such errors by music instructors in order to reaffirm their credentials, academic titles, honorary chair awards, acclaim, and fame. That is why many musicians engage into college discourse to demonstrate their recaptured ability to read and comprehend the scope of Bach's fugue parody and to revise their approach to the rest of his music. They show appreciation for the sobering, yet essential for all musicians lesson that is taught by Bach with humor, thanks to insightful efforts to share them by Rosalina Gutman. His design helped to witness the power of zombification to enslave the mind, making it visible. But fortunately, it cannot compete with the power of laughter in breaking its cognitive paralysis. Observation of this trend of paradoxical collective blindness to composer's efforts to get maximum attention to his call of distress allows for the rare glimpse into the inner mechanism of self-defeat. This deeper understanding of human psyche is possible thanks to the ingenuity of Bach in creating this tiny maverick of didactic scaffolding for optimizing learning process. However, behind the jokes and bursts of clashing jazzy cluster chords, Bach's effort for raising alarm about normality of zombification even in music remains as urgent as never before. Awareness of such self-defeating paradox of social brain helps to build existential resilience against enslaving and dumbing down of the mind through skillful misuse of power for manipulation of public opinion with groupthink, authority pressure, and influence of the moral atrocity culture. The use of musical humor is very effective for restoring disrupted by paralysis balance of the brain through emotionally and analytically balanced engagement with liberated from emotional confinement. Fugue of Bach. Double power of dopaminergic effect of combined impacts of humor and music had been harnessed by Bach intuitively, and his remaining intellectual leadership calls upon today neuroscientists to follow his lead by exploring illumination of this gift to humanity by the author Rosalina Gutman. Such ability to restore balanced brain engagement is essential for optimal brain function and is foundational for bilaterally balanced, integrative, whole brain cognition that allows for grasping complexities of multitasking polyphonic reality without senseless oversimplification by the primitive linear thinking often accompanied by irrational impulses of hostile microaggressions of unmitigated fight-of-flight instinct. Emotionally infused polyphony of Bach propels emotional reawakening through music. Addendums of this unique ebook explore its essential role, but now integration of Bach's didactic tools for brain advancement and optimization of learning process has become existential for humanity's ability to elevate consciousness and direct all ingenuity on preventing fast-approaching global threats. The author uses urgent example of undeclared pandemic of environmental illnesses, including forecasted by 60-plus global fertility studies year 2045, as the time for the onset of human extinction due to approaching zero-sperm global crisis, among many other rapidly increasing environmental illnesses that had not been merely labeled as such. These impacts of senselessly caused anthropogenic global threats resulting from brain underdevelopment could have been avoided if the prolific ideas of Bach for harnessing music instinct were not stonewalled by his mediocre contemporaries. Their lack of fitness to authority positions came at the unaffordable price to humanity, the spread of dominance of self-defeat consciousness. Indeed, the resulting comedy of absurd in every part of human reality needs concerted efforts for overcoming excusology for resentment to change beyond evolutionary relics of the human brain. There is no more time left to postpone the learning of these sobering lessons of existential meaning in the face of fast-approaching global anthropogenic threats to humanity. During the narrow window of opportunity to prevent fast-approaching collapse of the society from the widespread suffering caused by increasing toxicity, it requires for the leaders to initiate the shift into the attitude of no business as usual with no more delay, and Bach's clarity solution for cognitive dissonance is made simple with humor. The rare glimpse into unconscious mind facilitated by uniquely designed by Bach, fugue parody, allowed for deeper understanding of the maladaptive pattern of self-defeat that is at the core of the trend of deactivated pain alarms to toxicity. It has become the obstacle to its detection, along with warping the prioritizing capacity for the prevention of this global threat at the root level of psychological drivers that can be addressed with Bach's impeccable tool for elevating consciousness. And Bach's unique design of his fugue parody had become the tool of music-embodied reflection of these inner mechanisms of self-defeat, allowing for deeper understanding of sociosomatics in the concepts of textbook classics of social influences. And yet, despite the obvious benefits, contrary to any logic, the innovative ideas of Bach are still being met with senseless stonewalling by inventive excusology to avoid long overdue paradigm shift of consciousness in disregard of the unbearable price of millions of preventable deaths. That is why camaraderie of all forces of progress with the strive of Bach's paradigm-changing ingenuity is critical and urgent. Share now his laughter at the senseless universal enemies of zombification and hostile resentment and retaliation to change that promote the spread of moral atrocity culture. Get the new ebook at 25% discount now for the limited time during book launch offered in celebration of camaraderie. See info on how to apply discount e-coupon in the description of the YouTube channel and use it at the website Paradox of Invisible Dissonance. Come show camaraderie by sending your feedback and testimonials. And remember to include your own publication or project that would be featured to the attention of the global family of Bach's fans. And join ambassadors for Liberate Bach International campaign.